This episode is brought to you by members of the You Run Podcast Network. Dewey Pod Monster, Movies 4 Days, Pop Culture Reflections, Voices from the Mausoleum, You Gonna Eat That Crust, Video Tasties, The Ghoulish Gallery, The Girl and the Gay Podcast, The Horror Friendly Podcast, and The Aardvark and the Magic Moshi Do Red Dwarf. All available at yourunpodcast.com. Hello, and welcome back to another edition of the You Run Podcast True Crime. This is the show that brings together the southern United States and the south of the UK to discuss a true crime case picked by you. My name is Scott.
And I'm Heather.
You had a pause then. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I don't know.
Sure?
It sounds like we're both kind of having a weird pause.
Yeah, we're lagging a bit. How bizarre. Oh, well, let's see how this goes.
Whatever. We'll see how it goes. It's fucking technology. It's AI's fault.
Yeah, it's AI's fault. And I'm sure you can guess which one of us is from the southern United States. Of course, it's me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. He's country ass. Y'all not heard him? Y'all.
Yeehaw.
It's not. Yeehaw is so racist. Anyway.
Is that well? We'll skip over it.
I don't like cowboys. I don't know. I don't ride horses. So is it? I don't know.
How can you not like cowboys? What's not to like? They wear cool boots. They wear cool hats. They drink a lot. Yeah, you're right. They're not great.
Because I don't like guys that wear tight jeans and you see their nut outline. That's not cool, bruh. I mean, it's not cool to me. Like, whatever. If you like cowboys, that's what you're into. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not standing up because I am wearing tight jeans and boots.
Skinny jeans on.
I have, and boots.
Oh, God. Anyways.
Yeehaw. We bring you 2 episodes a month talking about whatever case you've selected. One of those episodes gives you all the facts around the case, and the other one, which is the one you're listening to now, goes a little bit more off the rails. We talk about the weird stuff, the conspiracy theories. We give you extra information on where you can go and investigate more yourself and get more information and watch movies and all that kind of stuff. We also have an open policy on you sharing your thoughts, and you could do that by sending us an email, which is yourunpodcast@gmail.com, or recording us an audio DM either in the episode link on this episode or anywhere on social media that you can do that, which is X and Instagram as well. You need to follow us on all the socials if you're on any of them, at You Run Podcast on all of them. If you want to follow Heather, she will be found quite easily on Instagram by typing in Wednesday Wine and Horror.
That's me. Like I tried to change it. I tried to change my name because I don't do my own podcast anymore. So I was like, let me just change it. And it won't let you because the type of page, it's like a business page or something. I guess by the time when I did the podcast and I set it up, I can't change it now. So it's always going to be Wednesday, but without losing all my content. I think it was basically like I'd have to start over, make a fresh page, and I'm not doing that.
No. I'll have a look.
Wednesday Wine forever.
I'll see if I can find a way for you to do it, and you can change it to Wednesday Wine and Crime.
Yeah, or something. Like I just felt like, you know what? I'm still getting followers. People are still not requesting, but following me. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Like whatever. I don't really care.
Yeah, and as much as you pretend it's not going to happen, at some point Wednesday Wine and Horror will return.
I think
one day you'll sit there and go, I need to. Yeah, you'll sit there one day, you'll have a couple of wines. Campbell will be a little bit older, and you'll be like, do you know what? I want to record a podcast. I'm going to watch.
I only want to do it with. I want to do it with someone because from this, we're getting off key right here, you guys. So you just hold your fucking horses, no pun intended. But literally, I'm gonna say this real quick. I just doing it by yourself is extremely hard, and it's more fun to have at least a co-host, at least a partner, because you have someone to talk to and it's more personable. And it didn't pan out the way I wanted because it was hard to do it by yourself. It didn't matter if
Yeah.
it was good or whatever. Anyways, I there could be a future where I have Mary. Me and her just talked about it in the future to do one together because me and her are really good friends. That would work. But as far as me by myself,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen. Like, unless, like, I don't know. But, anyways,
uh, we'll see. I think it might. Anyway, if you're a new listener to the show and you do not like true crime,
yeah.
like me, it's something that we skip over quite a bit. So I'm a horror movie guy. I can watch people be slaughtered, disemboweled,
Yeah.
pulled apart, thrown in bins, and I'm absolutely fine. I don't flinch. I sleep like a baby. True crime scares me. And as we today celebrate our 2-year anniversary of this show, it
Oh,
is
gosh.
2 years, almost to the day, since you came on as full-time co-host.
That's crazy. I've been
Yeah,
pregnant and then have a toddler now. It's so insane that I didn't even realize. I knew it was coming up. I
yeah,
knew it, right? It was about because we're in March now. So
yeah.
I was like,
It was the
surely it's coming up.
Eileen Warnos episode was your
Warnos
first. Yeah,
full time because I did
full-time.
help with that fucking
The first
ancient
2
shit.
episodes as well. You've been here since, yeah, Jack the
I've been
Ripper,
here since
and
day
then you
one.
jumped in on you have. And it's now 2 years officially.
That's
Um,
crazy.
I'm
Happy anniversary. Happy crime anniversary to us.
Yeah. Um,
There you
I'm
go.
still not cool with these cases. They still cause me sleep issues. Some of these
Mhm.
cases make me do that thing where you double check doors before you go to bed,
I
and
just do
I
that anyway,
still
but yeah.
I'm really bad, so, like, I don't check doors or anything like that normally. If I'm
Mm-mm.
doing build up
Same.
to a case,
Yeah.
especially if it's a weird case like this, I'm like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
check all the doors are locked, I'm gonna check all the crazy people
Same.
can't get in, I'm gonna check my kids and make sure their doors are closed, and yeah.
But you live in the forest, basically. Like you
Yeah,
live seclusion. So
yeah,
I would think like you would be more safe statistically, but I don't know the stats on that. I live in a neighborhood, so I live like in a rural. The area is kind of like that rural, but like if you go just a little, like you can get to the city in like 2 seconds. So it's
yeah.
like we're kind of off a little bit, but like we live in a neighborhood, so like anybody could be Dahmer. I'm pretty sure the guy next to me, I told y'all this before. I think he's collecting penises in a crock pot.
You
I'm
you need to start an investigation on that. That could be a case.
scared, Scott, because our neighbors, the other neighbors, the older lady and the older man, rest their souls, they both passed away within the last like I don't know 6 months, and I'm pretty sure I saw her ghost. And now I done scared myself where I won't even go outside when it's dark. I'm like that
But you
too
have a
much true
husband. Send your
crime, too
husband
much scary shit.
send
He
your
never
husband to
here.
do the investigation and report back. Well, this is true.
Well, he's always
Um,
working. Well,
on the
he's
other
here
hand,
now, but anyways.
he's yeah, he's always working unless you're recording and then he's home.
There you go. Yeah,
Um, you, on the other hand, really enjoy true crime. You
I do.
understand
I love it.
the psychological side of it, and it
Mhm.
really balances things out. And still now, I love the balance that we've got where I'm like, this is awful. And you're like, no, it's not that bad. You need to look at this case.
Yeah.
I like
He
that.
he I like the psyche of it, I think is really what intrigues me because I don't like the crime aspect of it. Like, I don't enjoy people being hurt or killed or anything like that. It's not that. But it's like how we're so different as humans and how you can talk to someone for your whole life and you don't know them. And it's all like fascinating to me because it's insane, quote
Yeah.
unquote, to how you can be talking to your best friend, but then they've murdered 12 people and you just like, you never know people, right? You never know.
Yeah. People are scary. Anyway, today we're going back on the 2014 Slenderman stabbing case that we covered in our
Mhm.
last episode. Um,
Yes.
this is honestly sad on so many different levels. If you haven't listened, go and listen to that episode before diving into this. If you've already listened
Yeah.
or you can't be bothered to go back and listen, we'll give you a brief recap. I'm going to really boil this down to bare bones.
Mhm.
3 girls go off into the woods. These are young girls. 2 girls brutally stab and try to kill the other girl and then go on the run for 6 hours. When they were arrested, they were interrogated and they said, Slender Man made me do it. Oh, and the girls were 12 and 13.
12, 13, and the victim was 12,
12.
11,
Yeah. 12.
12. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so they're all 12 and 13. Yeah,
Yeah.
babies.
One of these girls has been released, and that's
Mhm.
Anissa Weir. The other one is awaiting an appeal hearing in April of this year. And the girl
Yeah.
who was stabbed and survived is, no, sorry, Morgan Geyser is the girl who's waiting appeal. And the girl who
Yes.
survived, we're going to talk about her in a bit. Um,
Okay.
I said we were going to kick things off with a bit more information about Slender Man because we gave enough information on the last case for people to get an idea of who
Mhm.
he was. Um,
Yeah.
but we're going to cover all of this. And I'm saying now to any
Mm.
parents who have children who are at the I believe Slender Man is real age, me and Heather are going to keep the language PG for this next section. You could use this section of the show to show
Yeah.
your kids that people are telling what the real story of Slender Man is and dispelling
Yeah.
all the myths and telling you it's not real. So yeah,
Yes.
if you've got young children who believe in this, now's the time to go and grab them. We'll pre-warn you
Yeah.
when we're going to start dropping F-bombs again.
Pre-warn me.
Um, Slender Man was created on something called Something Awful, which is an online forum. It's kind of like a
Mhm.
creepy pasta chat room, like
Yeah.
bulletin board style website. He was created by a former user known as Victor Surge in 2009. So the
Mhm.
forum put out a challenge to all of the members of a Photoshop challenge to create something that looked paranormal by editing and altering existing images. Now, this
Yes.
is where it gets a bit murky and where all of the lore around this came from. So the image he created is actually behind us if you're watching it on YouTube. That is the image that this creator made.
Yes.
What made it worse is he added captions to 2 images he put up. So the first one he put up, he
Mhm.
put, "We didn't want to go. We didn't want to kill them, but the persistent silence and outstretched arms horrified us and comforted us at the same time." And then it said, "1983, photographer unknown, presumed dead." And then on the
Yeah.
second photo, he put 1 or 2 recovered photographs of the Stirling City Liberty Blaze, nothing to be taken from the day which 14 children vanished from what is referred to as the Slender Man. Uh,
Yeah.
Deformity cited in film detected by officials. What's the last bit? Fire at library occurred 1 week later. Actual
Mhm.
photographs confiscated as evidence. 1986, photographer Mary Thomas missing since 13th of June 1986. So he created a story to go with these photographs.
Well, yeah, because what would be the point of the lore if he's just it's not like a video game where there's just a character. He had to create like this like a urban legend kind
Yeah,
of. I don't really want to call it an urban legend because I'm not sure if it fits into that qualification of an urban legend, but more like an urban lore, like a myth. And so you needed a good
yeah,
story with it. There's so many stories though. If you guys are into Slenderman shit, you ask my son, he'll tell you one thing, and then like where they saw it, and then there's just so many different little like things and images
yeah.
as you're going to get into. I'm sure, like he looks a little different everywhere you go.
Yeah, he does. So, like these 2 images that were uploaded, he added these 2 captions. Now, this is on a creepypasta style chat room. So, these pictures
Hmm.
got loads of attention. And as you can imagine, like that sort of website, everyone then jumps on and they start building on this lore, and it's just storytelling
Yeah.
between people who like these type of things. Now,
Mhm.
believe it or not, the inspiration for this character was the tall man from Phantasm, which is
Yeah,
cool.
I don't like that is cool, but like those movies kind of suck ass. Actually, have you watched all of them?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't like it's not my type of horror to get into. Like I get it, it's very fucking stupid.
Yeah,
I
it
it's
is.
like you had a Pokemon ball. That's what I think it is.
Yeah,
Pikachu's in
it
there. But it's not scary to me, and I've only seen, I think, a couple. I know there's several, but I've only seen a couple of them, and I just couldn't get into them. But that does make sense as to that being an inspiration,
Yeah, it was
you
that,
know?
and do you remember when we used to watch Unsolved Mysteries as a kid, and they would always
Yeah,
talk about the
girl.
Men in Black, and the Men in Black would always be
Yes.
faceless and no one could. Yeah, that was the other inspiration, so it was the faceless Men in Black and the tall man, and Slender Man was born.
Let me tell y'all something about that show. That motherfucker, Robert Stack, RIP, his voice, when you came on, dun 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 dun, I'm like, this was me. I said, shit, they ain't solved none of this shit. And they did they brought it back. Unsolved
Yes.
Mysteries. You could rewatch it or not rewatch it, but it was like more modernized cases. And I watched the whole like little series. It was still creepy, but not as creepy as the old school ones, but it was pretty creepy.
Yeah, well, the old school ones were like he'd be stood in a graveyard and there'd be
Yeah,
rolling mist and purple lights
I
behind him,
know.
and he's
And
like,
he had the trench
"And they
coat
were never
jacket
seen
on.
again."
And you never know what happened.
Yeah.
I'm just like, where's the dog? Why they'll be like, the dog disappeared in the tree, and you're like, what the fuck? How did this happen? I never know. We'll never it's unsolved.
I think maybe we need to do like an unsolved mysteries style episode.
Yes, we do. I used to
We
seriously,
could
that
do
show
that.
used to creep me out. God, it's still scary now
Yeah.
if you listen to it at night. Watch it at nighttime while you laying in bed.
No.
Scary.
Now, this character also inspired a video game, a
Uh-huh.
movie,
Yes.
along with the stabbing as well. Um,
Yeah.
but it's not the only attack that happened that was blamed on
Mhm.
Slenderman. Which when I
Mm.
started looking at this, I was like, "This is, like, wild." Like, it's wild enough that the one attack happened, but then to find out there was a string of attacks all around the same time is just
Makes sense.
insane
Makes sense
to me.
though. Yeah, makes sense though.
Is it like shared hysteria? Is that what this is?
Like mass hysteria or whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know,
Yeah, like,
but
just
you should know that there would be more than one crime happening with this. Obviously, with the girls, that made national news, but there's going to be a slew of other things that are going to happen because of the lore of like what Slender Man is supposed to do if you encounter
yeah.
him or what you do for him, etc. Like the kidnapping the children and the paranormal part of it. I'm just like,
Yeah.
this shit's weird.
Um, so there was one. So after the news story hit, there was an unidentified woman from Cincinnati, Ohio,
Uh,
and she told a reporter that in June 2014, her 13-year-old daughter attacked her with a knife, and she
mm,
had written loads of stuff about Slender Man, and
yeah.
basically said it was him who motivated her to attack. I just think that's a 13-year-old girl who just doesn't like her mum,
I mean,
personally.
no more motive than the other girls that did what they did to Peyton.
Yeah,
I don't know. We're looking at when we get into that kind of stuff. That's when we're looking at the psyche part of it, where we're like, is this girl troubled, or did she legit believe in Slender Man and tried to murder her mother? I don't.
yeah. The thing
I
is,
don't know.
it's quite a belief. The law that's been built around it, and
Hmm.
because it's a tall guy hiding in the woods, it's one of those things that will capture the imagination of children. The same as like Bigfoot. They'll go out
Well,
for a walk
yeah.
in the woods, and there'll be a group of kids. And they'll be like, "Oh, I saw it," and then the other kids were like, "Oh, I saw it too," and it's that kind of sort of
Y'all ain't seen
just
shit.
believing something's there. Yeah, you don't, but you can make yourself believe you do.
Well, no, your
Like,
mind can do crazy shit. It plays tricks on you, believe me. Like, that's why I can't rewatch Hereditary because Tony Collette, y'all see me pointing? That bitch was
yeah.
right there. I'm telling y'all, like, I couldn't sleep in this room for 3 days. I said, that bitch sawing her neck off in that corridor. I said, I ain't watching it again. But I know what you mean. Like, I have a mirror in my bathroom. Okay, I have 2 different mirrors, a vanity and a normal mirror to brush your teeth.
Yeah.
And like on occasion, because I have posters up here when they're in the front of me, which is backwards for you guys. But anyway, they're in the front of me, and sometimes I'll catch a glimpse, and it's a picture of Michael Scott from The Office. Sometimes I'll catch a quick glimpse, and I'll be like, "Oh, heart attack central." But then I'm like, "Oh, damn!" But that's what happens. Like your mind, we all make up shit in our mind. You know, that dark corner, you swear you see teeth or chupacabra. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a one outside my house to chupacabra. But like, you just never know. And it's scary. And
See,
I'm not mental, but I promise there's one out
you,
there.
you're not mental, but every now you see in your mirror someone going, "Parkour, parkour, parkour."
Parkour. That's what she said. Like, seriously, though, it's one of those things where I think if your anxiety is heightened and you start
Yeah,
reading into shit like this, it's going to scare you.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah. It genuinely does.
Hmm.
On September 4th, 2014, a 14-year-old girl from Florida, always happens in Florida, like the Florida
And
man
I
thing. It's
sorry,
uh,
Mary, that's where Mary lives. I'm not
yeah,
saying where, she lives in the state. You gotta get
yeah.
out of there.
Florida's crazy. She
It's
set
crazy.
her whole house on fire with her whole family inside, and also blamed that on Slenderman. She was also into another character, which is it's called Abuko's manga or Akubo's manga. I can't pronounce it, which is a soul
Um,
eating character.
I think I remember, I'm gonna look down, you guys, because I have to keep up notes and stuff like that. I don't remember specifically, but I feel like my son was telling me something about that, or he came across it. It's like a weird name
Yeah,
like that, and I just can't remember.
yeah, I think it lives in the same sort of lore as Slenderman.
Yeah,
It's a
Slender
different
Man.
story, but yeah, it's the
Yeah.
same kind of thing. Uh, in early 2015, there was an epidemic of suicide attempts between the
Mhm.
age of 12 and 24, and this was on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Slender
Mhm.
Man was cited as the influence for all of these suicide attempts as well, um, which is insane,
I don't know
absolutely
about that.
insane.
Yeah, I think that has more to do with, like, again, the mental health of people than it does a creepy pasta fake thing. Because, like I said, my son is 12 now. And one of the things that he told me, he was like, when he first saw it, and he saw it on YouTube, I believe. That's where he came across it. Because
Yeah,
I don't let him get on Reddit, or he doesn't do that. Like, he can't get on those sites. Anyways, he told me that it's like, oh, if you don't, he'll be outside your window, kind of that type of thing. And so he's telling me this whole other kind of story. And I'm just like, well, that's not true. And he's like, oh, I know it's not true. He was like, it's fake.
yeah,
Somebody made it up. It's a story. And that made me feel better as a parent because I was like, he doesn't
yeah.
believe it. He wasn't scared necessarily, but like, he's fine now. He doesn't look at any of that kind of stuff. He doesn't like scary stuff. But anyways, that's what he was telling me. He was like, "Oh, anybody can create that stuff." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Excuse me." Like,
um,
whatever.
After the stabbing and all of these other attacks as well,
Yeah.
the creepypasta community, we'll call them that, the paranormal
Yeah.
community
Yeah.
focus on this type of stuff. They made a real active effort to try and alter this pre-existing law for
Mhm.
Slenderman, and
Yeah.
they posted numerous articles and numerous posts across bulletin boards and websites and everywhere else to change him from this horrible villain that makes children do terrible things to save their parents, to change
Yeah.
it to make him an anti-hero for bullied children.
Yeah,
Now, as opposed to him being a malevolent force that like makes kids commit atrocities, now he's a malevolent force that children can summon to go and kill their bullies. It's no better,
no,
but it's
that's no. I
slightly
mean,
better.
yeah, I mean, sure, but you're still sending that message of like murder and mayhem. And so you just are basically saying, like, okay, being bullied is not okay. It's not cool, but like, that doesn't mean the bully does not deserve to be killed. And so it's one of those things where it's like the child is still getting their mind warped by this. It's
Yeah.
not any better. It's actually might be more scary that it would be telling them to do something like that. I don't it's so nuts. People are I've been on creepypasta, like I've read some stuff on there. That people that tell like dark web stories and stuff like that. If you guys are interested in that, go to YouTube and type in like dark web stories, and it's some scary shit. Like it'll be like somebody
Yeah.
narrating it, but it's there's one called Dylan is chilling or something. That's one of the YouTubers,
Yeah.
and his voice is pretty creepy. It's just weird because you're like, that. There's no way that shit's true, right? It's the internet, but
Yeah. The
there's a
dark web
dark
is a
the
scary place.
internet. I've never been on it.
Yeah.
I know people that my brother has
Mm.
accessed it and swore he
So
saw things. I
I
don't know.
accessed it as well. If you remember when I was trying to find the
Yeah,
smiley face killers, I went to
I
a public
remember that,
library
but
and
that shit's scary because I don't.
yeah,
I'm not messing.
yeah.
I'm not fucking with that. I ain't
I
messing with
had
it.
one trip was enough for me. I will not be returning.
The
Definitely
reason
not.
why is because there are child sexual assault material things on there that there's I'm not going to call it child pornography because that means that the child was wanting to participate, and that is absolutely
Yeah.
no. But there's disturbing, sick things like that you
Yeah.
could accidentally get on. So I do not recommend. My PSA for today's
No.
episode is stay off the dark web because you don't. I don't care how smart you think you isn't because
Yeah.
you don't know. It's not like the web. You'll just be
No, it's
taken by some
not.
code, right? So you don't know where you're
Yeah.
going. Don't do it, y'all. Mm-mm.
Yeah. No, I agree. Um,
Yeah.
I think it's really important that we give a catch up on where all of the girls
The
from
girls
the
and everything.
stabbing are now.
Mhm.
But before we do that, we're going to take a very quick break.
Hey fam, Newman here from Movies for Days, your non-pretentious easy access movie chat podcast and weekly deep dive into any film from any genre, from any decade with anybody's guess as to how we chose that movie that week. Proud member of the You Run Podcast Network. Check us out where all great podcasts can be heard. And on Twitter at Movies Days. Movies is spelled regular, Days is spelled with a Z.
So make sure you go and check out Newman, go and check out
Yes.
Movies for Days and all of the other You Run Podcast Network members. There's 10 now, all available at yourunpodcast.com. So go and have a look. While you're there, we have a shop which has lots and lots of different t-shirts and other stuff. We've got a really cool, I can't say the serial killer's name because it could be deemed as I'm trying to infringe on copyright. We have a pair of spectacles on a t-shirt that says Killer Specs underneath them. And they just so happen to be a very 70s style pair of spectacles. We've got some really cool stuff on there. So go and check that out as well. Anything you spend goes back into the show and helps us get better cameras and all that kind of cool stuff.
Yes.
Let's start with Anissa Weir because we dealt with her kind of on the last
Mhm.
episode. She was one of the attackers. She
Yes.
was one of the people who attacked. So Anissa was sentenced to 25 years in a mental health facility at the end of the court case, and she was found not guilty by by mental defect or disease,
Yeah.
which we touched on that before, and I'm still not convinced that is a reason to be not guilty. You still committed the crime.
Mhm.
In 2021, she was 19. She had her court appeal heard and she was released under heavy conditions. So 24-hour tag, no social media, weekly mental
Yeah.
health meetings, and internet monitoring as well. She was required to live with her dad during this sort of probation period, which I think was set at 10 years.
Yeah, it was 10 years.
Um, following a second appeal in 2023, all of the restrictions were removed apart from internet monitoring.
I mean, I don't even know what the point of putting them on there. If
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
It's
2 years.
it's too complex to get into. Why the justice system is so wickety whack here. It's so insane. Literally, it's nuts.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, you put all those really strong, heavy restrictions in place
And then
for a
you take
set
them
period of
away.
time. Then you take them away and go, do what you like. We don't care. It's fine.
I
I
mean,
find
she
it
was
so.
not the perpetrator though, right? Anissa wasn't the one that like really like she did participate, but it was
Yeah.
Morgan who was the one that did most whatever, call it what you want, the dirty work. And I mean, like either one of them, I don't know how I still feel about them being sentenced to whatever they got sentenced to. Not saying they don't need to be, but like, I don't know. Like, this just
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense to me because it's like, it's weird.
It's
I don't
very
know.
weird. She's now living in an undisclosed location with
I bet.
one additional stipulation was added that she is to have no contact and stay a certain distance from the victim, from Peyton.
Yeah,
That was the only restriction
absolutely.
they added in.
I wouldn't want, I mean, like,
How do you
I
feel
would
about,
assume
like,
she wouldn't want to speak to her, right?
I would, yeah, I can't imagine that would be someone I'd want to go and have a chat with, someone who
What's she
pinned me
gonna
down and
do?
tried to
Message
stab
her and
me.
be like, "Sorry, I stabbed you." Slenderman. I still think Slenderman made me do it.
Yeah. It's,
No.
see, I kind of don't think that the court done their due diligence here. Like, they sentenced her for 25 years of mental health treatment.
Mhm.
She got 4. Then she was
Yeah.
let out with heavy restrictions, and then they
Welcome to
removed all of,
America,
yeah, they removed all of those restrictions.
USA.
Like, she tried to kill somebody and
Yeah,
blamed it on a fictional character from the internet, and in 6 years, the American justice system goes, "She fine. She okay."
she fine. She fine. She aight. No, I get it. Like I'm telling you, I don't know. I don't understand how. There are people that did not commit crimes, but they go to jail and they're in jail for like
Yeah.
I don't know, 20 years, and then they get out and they sue the shit out of the jail and get all this money. But it just makes you like, that's why I ain't committing no fucking
Yeah.
crimes, yo.
Yeah,
I don't
well,
want
it'll
the
be
jury
fine.
to
Like,
be like no.
it'll be fine. Blame Pikachu. Pikachu made you do it. You'll be out in 6 with no restrictions. It'll be
I'm
fine.
blaming that chupacabra, which is I asked Steven because he made a joke about it one time, and he's like, I think it's a possum, which I know there's an O in front of possum, but I don't say opossum. I just say possum.
Does
Those
anyone
things
say
fucking
it?
terrify me.
Does
I
anyone
don't, I
say
don't know if
opossum?
anybody does. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody say it, but I know it's spelled that way, right?
Yeah.
But I'm pretty positive. My eyes just got really big, but those things are so scary. They're like, that's what they look like.
Am I right in thinking they're like a giant rat?
They look like a rat cat. Does that make sense? Like they're like
Yeah.
a bigger than a cat, but they have like a cat feature, but they are so fucking ugly. And I'm scared, like, because we have woods behind our house. Like, so we don't live in woods, but there are some woods behind us, and they're gonna happen where we live. They're very common. I'll run one over. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I ran a snake
Yeah,
over. I don't give a shit.
I
I don't do creatures.
yeah, I'm not in for possums or opossums either, however you say
Oh,
it.
possum. I don't know.
Possum. Now,
Okay.
Morgan was the one who showed little remorse. So this was Morgan Geyser.
Yes.
She was diagnosed with schizophrenia in the lead up to the trial. She
Yeah.
hallucinated a lot, and she communicated not only with Slenderman. We didn't touch on this last time because I wanted to save it for extended cut. But she also communicated with members of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles who also told her to do stuff.
Girl, Girl, y'all better stop it. Heroes in a half shell.
Turtle power.
Mental illness. Oh, I said mental illness.
Yeah.
No,
So
that is like what the Ninja Turtles got to do with this.
nothing at all. Apparently, the Ninja Turtles were like the good side of a hallucination, told her
They
to do
just
good
eat
things.
pizza, bruh. They eat so much
Yeah.
pizza. Like, I don't like pizza that much. I'm kind of un-American when it comes to pizza, but like, that's
So
weird.
this,
I don't even.
yeah, this girl's spirits guides were Slenderman and Michelangelo.
You like Michelangelo? I don't know who my favorite Ninja Turtle is, actually. I don't really.
Uh,
Maybe Raphael, probably.
Raphael's mine. Yeah, he's got
Yeah.
a bad attitude. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
I
kind
like
of yeah,
snobby attitudes.
he's my spirit animal.
Yeah, there you go. He's salty.
He is very salty. Morgan received a really hefty sentence, basically
Yes.
along the lines of she will stay in a mental health facility until such a time when she is no longer a danger to herself or others. There is no specified time limit. If this takes 8 years or 800 years, that's how long she's there.
Well,
I feel this is such a loose way of sentencing someone. It's like, you're going to a mental health facility. Okay, how long am I going for? Well, until we decide you don't have to be there anymore.
but if you suffer from schizophrenia or that's a very rare mental illness, like in all seriousness, that doesn't go away. You do not cure that.
No,
You don't cure that. You
no,
have
but
to
it
live
can.
with that. And that doesn't make any sense. You can leave her in there for her whole life, right? She will always suffer from that mental illness, but she will not be able to, like, I guess, harm other people. But it's what? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's iffy for me. I'm not. Don't get me to
Well,
lying. I don't know.
it's iffy for her legal team as well. And because the sentence was so loose, they appealed this in 2020, 2021, 2022, and again in 2023. All of the appeals have been rejected apart from the one they filed at the end of last year, which is going to be
Hmm.
heard next month.
Okay.
So they are going for a full dismissal of all charges and immediate release.
Lord have mercy. On another note, Stephen just texted me and said Raphael is his favorite too. So we all in the Ninja Turtles club. I would have pegged my husband to be more of like Michelangelo or Leonardo, like who's the goofier one? That's who I would have pegged. I don't know. He's just copying me. Slenderman made him do it, y'all. Me.
I don't think she's going to get this appeal. I don't think this is going to get granted.
I don't see how. I don't on God's green earth do I understand how they're going to be like. She just needs to look. This is the thing. She's going to have to be on her meds.
Yeah.
And does she deserve punishment? She does, because she could have taken her and Anissa could have taken Peyton's life for sure. Yeah. And then they should have went to regular jail.
Yeah.
Like, if you ask me, like, I'm not saying they don't need mental health help, but I think they should have actually went to prison, not
summer camp.
Well, they basically were just like, okay, now that you're older. But the thing is if you have a mental illness like that, like I said, schizophrenia, you're not going to get over it. You can manage the symptoms, but you do not cure the disease, because it is not that it doesn't work that way. So she will live with it for her whole life and suffer if she's not in a controlled environment or it has some stability. Who's going to be stabilizing her? I don't know.
Yeah, this is the thing, that if she was released and there was a strict sort of thing put in place for mental health checkups and all that kind of stuff, there still needs to be someone going, you need to take your medication. You need to take your medication. And
I mean,
if
is she going to live by herself?
Yeah, and the thing is, even if they put all of these restrictions in place, they've already lifted them all for Anissa Weir. So what's stopping them in 2 years' time going, you're okay, never mind. We'll drop all of that. Don't worry about it.
Maybe because she was more the perpetrator and that she did most of the assault on Peyton. So maybe look, this world is crazy, and everybody crazy in this world, it seems like, because it's like you don't want someone to suffer from mental illness and be on the streets and then cause problems. But then, like, they don't do anything to really help them. Like, just giving her a few years of therapy to me is not going to help this girl. I feel like she would need lifelong therapy, and sometimes people need that.
Yeah.
And she needs a supportive family or some type of supportive ring around her so that she can't reoffend.
Yeah, and also I don't
I
think
don't know.
that anyone, be it a child or an adult, who goes out and attempts to kill someone should be released within 10 years. This was a premeditated, we're going to kill our friend. They tried
Yeah.
to carry it out, and one of them's out within 6 years and the other one potentially within 10. Like, how would
Yeah.
that make Peyton and her family feel, that these people who tried to, like Peyton's parents, these girls who tried to kill their daughter,
Mm-hmm.
one of them's out already and the other one's potentially coming out this year? That's insane to me. Like, if I was a parent,
It
I'd be
is.
like, that's not happening. I'll be in that courthouse. There's no way they're coming out.
Yeah. And you would be there to, to make sure that her appeals didn't go through if you had that power to do that. But that's just not how the world works with that kind of stuff, apparently. And I think they look at it like
No.
they have to look at the case based upon, like, will they reoffend? Is this person likely to reoffend? It's just like when they let anybody else out of jail for whatever, right? They're not going to probably let this person out because they know this person will reoffend due to what they did, their crime. But they're looking at it like these were impressionable young girls. To be honest with you, their brains were not developed yet all the way. And they look at it like they've been in this facility for so long that they can make rational decisions now that they're, have had some help. So I can
Yeah.
see it. But to me, I mean, you have to think about it from that way, the rational way, and you have to think about it from Peyton's family's way. Like, how would you feel if that was your child that was almost killed?
I
It's
I
hard
would
to,
be Yeah, I mean, I would be at the appeal hearing with the goal to make the appeal fail. And if
yeah,
not, my backup plan would be to get myself my own life sentence if they were released. That would be my
yeah.
backup plan, which
I don't know. It's
that's
just it's tricky. It's what do you at the end of the day you say this, but you're like, hope to God you never have to be put in that position to ever have to. I hope no. It's just difficult
oh,
to know what you would do. I don't know.
yeah, and the thing is, like, we had ghost stories when we were kids. Like, we'd stay up
Yeah.
late, we'd have sleepovers, we'd tell ghost stories,
Hmm.
we'd sneak out, we'd go for walks in the woods in the dark and all the and at no
Not
point
me.
during that did me or any of my friends go, "Ah, do you know what? That ghost story said someone was gonna kill someone. I think I'm gonna do that." I don't know if the world
Yeah,
has just becomes progressively more crazy as
it
time's
is.
gone on.
It's garbage. It's like a dirty
Yeah.
diaper filled with Indian food that they shit out. It stinks. And no, it really is like it is terrible. And I get what you're saying. Like, we had Candyman and Bloody Mary, right? You stayed the night
Yeah,
when you had sleepovers, or because, like, even sleepovers, we talked about this before last episode. Like, you don't really let your kids, my kids don't stay over anywhere because you
no.
can't trust fucking people or parents, anybody. So, like, but then in the 90s, you could, and it
Yeah.
wasn't so scary. And we would, like, turn the lights off and go in the bathroom, and it's like, we had fun, and it seemed like innocent fun. And you would ride your bike and do crazy shit like that at fucking nighttime. You can't do that.
Yeah.
That catch you up in a second. No, my kids don't do
Yeah.
shit. Stay the hell home.
Yeah, mine too.
That's just how it
This
be.
brings us to this brings us to Peyton, who's the
Yeah,
victim in all of this. Do you wanna know what she's doing now?
I do, because I figured when I saw that she had done the one interview, I was like, I bet you it's like hard to Google information on her, because when people are out of the spotlight, sometimes it's just like they out the
Yeah.
spotlight.
Yeah,
And
she
I'm not
she
fixing to get on Reddit and be like, oh, they said she's doing this. It's like, well, you don't fucking know. Reddit is just a bunch of gossip.
yeah. Yeah, I
So
went on Reddit. I went everywhere to try and track down what she's
I mean,
doing now.
I go on Reddit. I'm not dogging it. I'm just saying, like, for credibility, you can't. It's just like me and
No.
you. Let's have a forum, Scott, and we'll just say blah blah blah. And it's all speculation, and you don't know for sure,
Yeah.
unless they don't know this girl, right?
No, exactly that.
Anyway.
I think it's nice to discuss a survivor because we've never
Hmm.
discussed a survivor
I
on this show.
agree.
It's always been
Yeah.
talking about the victims and their families and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Peyton's doing great, really great. She gave an interview with ABC News, and this is the only one she's ever done.
Hmm.
Um, she said that she doesn't think of Morgan or Anissa very often, and in her opinion, eventually the memory of them will completely fade away,
I hope
which
so.
is a good way to look at it. I
Yeah.
don't think it will, but it's a positive outlook to have. Um, she added that this led her to have trust issues with new friends, and she keeps people at an arm's length,
Yeah.
but refuses to let the incident define her. I'm not being
Yeah.
funny. This would give you so many trust issues. Shit, like no one would get near me
Yeah.
ever again. I'd never be
She
alone with
has
strangers ever.
she has a forever trauma. Like, she
Yeah,
will never be who she could have been mentally due to the scars. Those are scars you cannot get over. You might work past them. Yes, and I say get over in the sense of, like, they will never go away. It's no different to me. It is different, but it's in the same family of saying, like, if you lose a loved one or something like that. It's not something you forget, and you learn to live with
yeah,
it and cope, but she's gonna always, like, I don't blame her. I don't fucking trust people now, and ain't nobody tried to stab me yet. I don't.
yeah.
Hmm, I get
um,
it.
she also she also passed opinion on whether they should have been tried as adults, which is
Mm,
something we discussed on the last case. It's a
yeah.
really troublesome subject. Um, Now, her take on this, I actually quite like. So she said, if they stole some candy or something petty, then
Yeah.
that's a child crime committed by a child, and they should be tried as a
Yeah.
child.
Yeah.
They attempted to kill me in a premeditated murder. This is a grown-up crime, and in my opinion, should be treated as a grown-up crime. I'm kind of with her on that.
I mean, I agree and I disagree. I think that you have the qualifications of what it takes to make that rapport on that. It's like, I don't have them. And so it's hard for me to speak on that. It's just opinion based. It's like,
Yeah,
they're little babies when you think about it, but and then you're just like, you don't hear a whole lot about children getting sentenced as adults.
no,
It doesn't happen. I mean, they'll still go to a facility. They usually go to a juvenile facility, then they can get moved to an adult prison when it's time. But you don't hear about, like, a 12-year-old actually getting tried as an adult in that right then.
yeah,
It doesn't
no,
happen very
it's
often. So
no,
I don't know.
which yeah, I suppose that's a good thing. Um, Peyton had to have lots of medical care during her
Mhm.
recovery from her injury. So I think she had 3 operations. She had lots of um, recovery therapy and like
Yeah.
getting all of her functions and stuff back. Um, During this process, she decided that she wanted to join the medical profession.
Hmm.
Um, and she wants to be able to give the gift that was given to her to other people, giving someone a second chance at life that when it's
Yeah.
on the brink. Um, she's an inspiration, really. She's at
Yeah.
college now training to do this. And like this could have broken most 12-year-old girls beyond repair mentally,
Yeah.
destroyed them to the point where they would go down a path of drink and drugs and things to
Yeah.
try and block out these memories and go down a really bad path. But Peyton's gone completely the other way. She's gone, actually, no, this was a really shit thing that happened to me, but I got some really great medical care, and I would love to be able to do that for somebody else. And she
Mhm.
turned this whole horrible thing into something that's good, not just for her, but for everyone. And I think that's wonderful.
Yeah. No, and it is good because you don't hear a lot about a lot of inspirational stories, especially in crimes like this. Typically, it will be bad, and the person actually does die, or if they did survive, they've gone on to have such a horrific, adulthood, and it ends up being bad for them. So I think it's more about will too. Like I think she had the will to live. That's why she drug her little body out of those woods and and was lucky. She's here for a reason, whatever it be.
Yeah.
And I think it's great too. It is refreshing to be like she's doing well and she's not letting them dictate her life and she's moving on. And I hope that she lives a long, long, healthy life and nothing happens to her. I hope that
Yeah.
she makes it. And I think she will.
Yeah, and if I ever get injured and she happens to be the nurse or the doctor that treats me, I hope she really studied hard and does a fucking good job.
Right? Oh, it depends on what kind of injury. Like if she's going to be, did you mention if she's going to be a nurse or a doctor? What is
Uh, sh she didn't disclose what she's gonna be,
it
but
didn't
she's going into
disclose
the
what
medical
yeah.
profession.
Okay. Well, either way, nurses tend to do a lot more work than the actual doctors, you guys. So
Yeah, they
love on your
that's fact.
nurses because that is very factual. Because I mean, I see a nurse practitioner for all my stuff. You don't hardly ever see a doctor. I mean,
No,
not really. You don't see the doctor. It's crazy, but yeah, they're awesome. I like both of my nurse practitioners that I see for different things. But yeah, they're
yeah.
great. They're wonderful.
Yeah, my aunties were nurses when we were growing up, but I've got 2 aunties who were nurses all their
Hmm.
lives, and honestly, they are
Yeah.
the hardest working, most downtrodden, shouted at by doctors, treated like shit by patients, people,
Oh yeah.
and they've got nothing but love for what they do. They genuinely do it because they actually care. So be
That's
nice to
awesome.
nurses. Be
Yes,
nice
be
to them.
nice to them because there are scary stories of nurses killing people, and we might have to pull that at one time. There's killer nurses, y'all. They be putting
Yeah,
shit in their IV. They like that. I'm serious. I just
yeah.
watched a documentary the other day. I was like, I ain't going to the fucking hospital then. Damn. They trying to kill me. Yeah, he was like the angel of death or some crazy shit. Y'all, I ain't even playing.
Yeah, no, see, that scares me even more. Why did you bring that up? Like, that's the
I'm
worst type of
sorry.
killer.
You ain't
That's a
going to the
killer that
doctor, you fine.
There's a killer that lives in a medical facility to help you. That's not where they should live.
No, no, but like it happens. It's not very common. There's not like a ton of them. There's just been a few cases, and there's been one where and I think they mainly would focus on it was a guy. I know there's one about a guy, and there was one about a woman, or a couple about women. Women tend to do that. We like to kill low and slow. And no, he was just like thinking he was putting people out of their misery because they were
Ah,
elderly, but like you're killing people. Like you don't get to play God. Yeah,
no.
you don't make that. But they called him, I think it was either Angel of Death or something like that. But anyways, we'll probably eventually pull something crazy like that, just depending on whatever mood we're in or whatever mood you guys are in, since you guys pick all this stuff. Thank you.
Yes, which we need to get a new poll out. So we
Yes, we
know we
will.
are late with polls. We will get one out to
We do
you.
whatever we want. It's
Um,
our show.
we're going to be back in a few weeks to record a new episode. There'll be a poll running very shortly. Um,
Yes.
choose whatever you want, make it nice and exciting. It's going to be a great episode, whatever we cover, unless it's from the 1800s, and then Heather will get bored.
Do not. We're not even going to give that option. I said what
Because
I said. I'm not doing. I'll take a nap. I'll nap the whole time.
the
You
last
can
time,
AI that one.
if anyone hasn't listened to what episode was it? It was H.H. Holmes. When we covered H.H. Holmes, this is pretty much what Heather done the entire episode.
Boring.
No, like it literally, like if you put that and Jack the Ripper, which is boring.
Boring.
As well. Yes. And then you put the original Friday the 13th, they so fucking boring. I'd rather go to sleep. That shit, I'm like this. Oh, I'm awake. It's so boring. I can't. I will fight anybody in the horror community over people that are like, "Oh, it's a classic." Like, yeah, I fucking get it. Jason wasn't the killer. We know this, okay? Mommy did it. It is so boring. I would rather watch
Yeah.
paint dry. It's so
Yeah, I agree.
stupid. But anyways, that's just my rant. Anyway, enjoy it.
Yeah, well, now we've had your rant, you get to rant again because it's time to sign us off.
Okay, you guys. Seriously, I really just do not enjoy that one in the franchise. I love Jason, but that one sucks dick, and we all know that, and it's fine to say that. It's not good. But in all seriousness, I'm so glad everybody's tuned in, listening. I hope you enjoy this episode. It's kind of off the rails, I would say, a little bit. But
Yeah.
you
Well,
guys,
sorry.
the next episode.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were covered in this episode. Horror movies have been covered in this episode. Well, yeah, I'd say the rails were non-existent from about 5 minutes in.
We don't wear fucking seatbelts, okay? We do what we want. This is our show. We do whatever we want. But we do appreciate all of you listening. Like, without you guys, we wouldn't be here being able to rant and rave and do whatever we want. But you guys, I want you to stay spooky, stay safe, stay creepy, and make sure don't read your pasta, but eat it. See you next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.